Hey guys, today we're going to talk about a topic that was brought up by another YouTuber, and that is PewDiePie. He brought up the idea of forced positivity on the internet. And I felt like this is something that I've actually wanted to talk to you guys about for quite a while, because I've done movie reviews and I do my opinions on various comic books, and everyone's like, well, Benny, you like everything. You just enjoy it all. And my assumption is, well, then a lot of people probably assume that I'm faking my positivity. I'm forcing myself to enjoy things. And that's actually not the case. But I did want to warn all of you guys who want to get into YouTube that is kind of the case. Now, this may be a bit rambly because I'm not 100% sure how to sort my thoughts out to tell you about all of this stuff. But let's go ahead and start with the forced positivity aspect. Now, I myself don't do forced positivity. I'm a very, very positive person who always tries to smile every chance that I get. But that's not how I was raised. Well, it is kind of how I was raised, but that's not how I was originally. When I was in the military, a lot of crap happened to me between multiple deployments, extensions on those deployments, so I'd be there longer, the loss of friends, the loss of situations in my life because of what's happening there, and basically things happening in the military that was not positive at all. And I would be very negative about it. I would be depressed. I would be dwelling on a lot of things. And as I was going through all of this, I decided myself that that's not who I want to be. I don't want to be a depressed individual who rants and rambles and complains all the time. I don't want to nitpick. I don't want to be the guy that no one wants to hang out with because he's negative. So what I decided to do at that moment in my life is always look for something positive. Because if I am living my life and I get to live in a house and I get to eat a meal and I get to drive a car, in this case in point we are now, I get to talk to you guys on the internet as my job, there's gotta be something to be positive about. My life does not suck to that degree. And while I have had situations in which I fought against depression and I have fought against big self-image problems and stuff where I just was not happy with myself, I always look for positivity in everything that I do, because the way I look at it is simple. I could be worse off. It's a very logical way to look at it, but that's how I look at it. And if you want an example, when it comes to superhero movies, we all know some of the storylines suck. A great example is two of my favorite superheroes, Superman and Batman. We just had a movie that sucked. And you know what? It did. The storyline overall sucked. The extended version did fix a lot of it, but it sucked. But when I left that movie, as much as I was depressed about the storyline being horrible and my DC cinematic universe not being on par with my Marvel cinematic universe, you know what was cool? I got to see Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman on the screen. And not only that, I got to see Batman and Superman fighting each other. And that is something that my dad dreamed of having happen when he was a kid. That was something that we never thought we would ever see on the screen. And that is a positive thing. That is awesome to see. Even if the portrayal is not what you were hoping for, the fact that it exists is something positive. I mean, I know individuals that when we wake up, we'll go get coffee, and they'll be upset because the coffee order got mixed up. But you know what? Someone just made our coffee. I get to sip coffee that I didn't have to go get myself and brew myself. How is that not a positive thing? And that's how I've always looked at life. And so what I try to do when I'm talking about movies and I talk about comic books is I always look for something positive. Be it the artwork is amazing, or the story itself was amazing, or maybe just I loved the portrayal of a character in a comic book. Because the fact that I'm able to read comic books is an amazing thing, and I try to make it a positive situation. And that's what I feel like everyone should be doing. You should be looking for the positivity in your life. Don't dwell on the negative moments of your life. And that's why it seems like I like everything. That's because I look for a reason to like everything. I try not to hate on things or hate on people or hate on situations. But that's not the situation when it comes to YouTube, and that's what I wanted to warn you guys about if you're trying to get into YouTube. Look, no matter how much I look for the positivity or I try to be positive about my situation in life, I'm still having to do things that I dislike. And that brings me back to what PewDiePie was saying. He said that he was forcing himself to do things for the sake of his channel and for the sake of his job. And I wanted to be like, just slap him across the face and be like, that's life. You can look for the positive. You can look for, hey, I'm playing games for a living, or I'm reading comic books for a living. But the fact of the matter is, no matter what your job is, no matter what it is, you will always come across segments of that job that you're going to dislike. That's just the fact of the matter. For me, doing this YouTube thing, what I dislike about it is that I have to read every comic every week. I don't get a break. There's never a moment that a movie comes out or a game comes out or family shows up that I want to be like, hey, you know what? This week, I'm not going to do my job. This week, I'm going to take a legit vacation and not read comic books, not write a script up, not make a video. That doesn't happen. And that is a very negative thing because the job of YouTube is a endless cycle. You don't get breathers. You don't get to wake up on Tuesday and be like, I don't feel like doing a video for 2 weeks. I'm just gonna play a video game. If you do that, your channel will tank. That's basically what's going to happen. And the only individuals that can get away with one video every 3 or 4 weeks or a month are the people who came to YouTube early and have massive followings. Or you have some bizarre thing that people just latch onto, so they're going to share your video. That's the negative of this job. It's amazing. The job is amazing. I mean, I read comic books and talk about them all day, and then I get in meetings and talk to people who want me to promote their products, or they want me to be a part of their projects. I love that. I love this job. But the job of YouTube is a very, very tear you down kind of a job, because no matter how you look at it, I work, even on a low day, 6 hours a day. And on a high day, I'll work 10 to 12 hours a day. And that's the nature of this job. And that's where I can see what PewDiePie's talking about. Even when he wanted to take a break or he wanted to do a different game, what ended up happening was everyone would just argue with him. The comments would be against him. And so you get to a point where you're like, I have to keep doing this. It's my income, it's my livelihood, but I'm not enjoying it anymore. Now, like I said, luckily for me, I have a very positive outlook on life. And the great thing about comic books, guys, versus say playing Happy Wheels 20 times a day, is that I have 50 comic books a week to read. So if I'm tired of Batman, I can flip over to Spider-Man. And if I'm tired of Spider-Man, I can flip over to the Green Lanterns. And if I'm tired of superheroes, I can go read some Walking Dead, or I can go read some manga. And that is the beautiful part of the comic book side of YouTube. You get to change up what you're interested into. So even if I'm telling you guys a story about Batman, I get to go read something like Walking Dead, or I get to go read Saga, or I get just to catch up on my manga, or watch anime to be caught up. But it's an interesting situation. And I wanted to make you guys aware of this because I know a lot of you guys really want to get into YouTube, but nobody thinks about YouTube in the long term. Okay, everyone's like, Benny, I would love to do your job. And I know, I love doing my job as well. But let me ask you this, because I had a friend ask me, hey, I want to get into YouTube and I want to do fitness videos. And I was like, okay, in 5 years, can you see yourself doing fitness videos? If you want to do this long term, you don't want to do a hobby, can you see yourself doing this exact same thing every day of your life for 5 years, 10 years? That's where the forced positivity comes in. Because no matter how much you love your job, you're eventually going to get a point where you want to do new things. Now, for me, to prevent burnout and prevent me being eventually not being positive, what I did is I started hiring individuals to do the aspects of the job that I really did not prefer. That was a lot of the editing jobs. That's why we have Dan, we have Houston, we have Kevin, and now we have Dylan. You guys may know him as Orm, on here to do aspects of the job that I'm not a huge fan of. That's what they do. And I also get to take that time now that I was editing to bring you guys more creative projects. Case in point, we have 2 big ones coming up. We're doing a full animated series of our favorite verses. First one's probably going to be Deadpool versus Batman, but it's going to be a debated kind of thing between me and Comics Explained. That should be coming up very soon. That was something that I had the opportunity to be creative with and talk to Rob about. And we've actually done a crap ton of scientific research to explain how your favorite superheroes can exist in the real world with real world physics and theories and hypotheses. It's a word that's big and I don't use typically. But I mean, at this point, I feel like I'm rambling, but yeah, forced positivity is a real thing on YouTube. I've seen YouTubers next to me. We'll be doing things and they'll be like very drab and very kind of, they seem depressed even though they're just not really depressed. They're just kind of drab. And they'll be like, yeah, okay, I gotta go do my vlog. And they'll be like, hey everyone, welcome to my vlog. And then they'll turn it off and be like, all right, well, you wanna go get a drink or something? You know, it's a real thing. But luckily, I don't want anyone to worry because I get a lot of comments of burnout. I look for always the positivity. I always look for a positive thing, and that helps me drive through. It allows me to be creative. It allows us to do new projects. Speaking of new projects, now that we're closing out this video, if you guys like me talking more about YouTube, more about my life, my what I do, maybe giving you more proper vlogs where we film things, I'm gonna basically start up a little side channel, and over there I'll explain what's going on with all of the channels that I've launched, which is Comicstorian, Mangastorian, Eligible Monster, Comic TV, all that stuff. All that's gonna be explained over there. But if you guys like this kind of a thing, you like me as a person and not just the complete stories, we're gonna launch a little vlog channel where I can just pretty much do whatever I want and not worry about my Comicstorian numbers. That's another thing I'll explain over there. So I'll put that link down below. It's really just gonna be me starting off by saying hi. But yeah, so Let me know. What do you guys think down below? What do you think about forced positivity? What do you think about dwelling on negativity or positivity in your life? How do you live your life? I really am curious. I know a lot of people who do look for positivity, but some people don't. And some people argue, oh, that's a childish way to look at things. You have to dwell on the negative. And I'm like, why do you have to dwell on the negative? Why do you have to bring up things to make people angry? Why do you have to be negative and angry and cause problems? And why? What's the purpose of that? Let me know in the comments down below. I legit want to know your answers to this. And I'll see you guys next time right here at Comicstorian.